We all had our favorite TV channels as a kid. For most, it was Nickelodeon. For others, it was Disney Channel. For the kids who didn't have cable, it was PBS Kids. However, as someone who grew up primarily in the mid to late 2000s, I kind of felt like an outlier for being a Cartoon Network kid. Not to say no one else watched the channel, but it never felt like it was talked about at school as much as the other two. Disney Channel was the talk of the town, mainly because I happened to grow up during the era of High School Musical, Hannah Montana, and the Jonas Brothers. Nickelodeon had SpongeBob, which everyone knew, and iCarly was super popular. It's no secret that CN was kind of in a slump during this time. Yeah, you had your Chowders, Flapjacks, and Total Dramas, but a lot of the shows at the time were not really picking up a huge audience. Heck, they even tried chasing the live-action trend with We don't talk about that one. However, I still had stuff like Billy and Mandy, Kids Next Door, and Ed, Edd n Eddy to fall back on during this time. I bring up this childhood talk because the holidays are where I always get the most nostalgia for the simplest things. And one of these things was the general vibes TV networks like Cartoon Network had during this time. The types of promos, bumpers, and watching Grandma got run over by a reindeer for the 7th year in a row. This video isn't necessarily a full review of every Christmas special the channel's ever had, but more so a look back. I'm gonna be reminiscing on some of the specials and vibes I got from watching Cartoon Network during the month of December. We'll start off simple with the bumpers. Now, I happened to be growing up during this awkward transitional period of the channel. CN would be changing its branding and bumpers every couple years to the point where it felt like a constant reset. I saw the characters looking like these weird-ass nudes. Yes, that was their real name. This song that played every commercial. It's just something that grown-ups invented. And the biggest core memory of all, these funny, creative bumpers of the characters interacting with each other in a big city. This was my favorite iteration of these because I was such a sucker for crossovers as a kid, and these were always a cute thing between commercials to deliver that desire. There were many of these made during Halloween and Christmas, and they changed them up during those months. During December, the city would be covered in snow and every character would be in the Christmas spirit. The music had this festive flair to it, and the whole city would be decorated. I remember a lot of the bumpers that aired during this time, such as
You want a particle accelerator?
Yes, something useless.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid. Stupid atom smasher.
I didn't even know what A Christmas Story was yet. We also had this one of the CN characters singing off beat, one where Ed struggles to open up a present, only for Eddie to be in it, and this one where Billy of Billy and Mandy is rubbing his hands by a fake fire.
Should I tell him?
Nah, it's Christmas. Toasty!
Heck, some of these bumpers would just be showing off a location covered in snow, which was such a nice ambiance. However, the one thing that always stuck in my head that was a big sign that the holidays were coming was this promo.
Cartoon Network Holiday Rush.
Lots of great shows!
We've got so much!
I didn't even know at the time that it was a cover of the actual song, but I loved hearing it every time. This was your standard promo for the various Christmas specials that aired every year, done to a sequence of the characters getting caught in a giant snowball. The tune was catchy, it stuck in my head, and I always loved the ending sequence of the snowball falling off the cliff and everyone getting stuck. This always signaled one thing: it was time for the yearly Christmas specials. These were a yearly tradition to me. I'd always DVR each special despite doing it the previous year and then deleting the recording when Christmas was over. I don't know why I did this, but I was also the kid who got comfortable seeing Christmas decorations up after the 25th, so that might be why. But because of this, a lot of these specials are burned into me so much. Let's start with the ones from their actual shows. What was always special about these was they'd air specials from shows that were already well off the channel by that point. I didn't have Boomerang at this point, so it felt like the only time of the year where I could see some of these shows. The Powerpuff Girls' 'Twas the Fight Before Christmas was an example of this. I always loved watching the Powerpuff Girls from the few times I did catch it on, but I only really had a DVD of the movie to fall back on. Because of this, stuff like these were what I'd always try to catch. The plot is simple. Princess Morbucks finds out she's apparently the only kid on the naughty list, and switches the list so now every other kid in the world is naughty, so the girls have to stop her. Now, the special isn't perfect. Several scenes drag, most notably the fight scene, which goes on for quite a bit. But I didn't care. My favorite part of this was always when they'd cut to this map of the world that show how close they were to the North Pole. It made the geography nerd in me come out. This special also had a Christmas Story reference I didn't understand.
Who would want a stupid old BB gun?
Princess!
Besides, you'll shoot your eye out.
But the main thing I now associate this particular special with was the fact that this used to be in the trivia section for it on the Powerpuff Girls wiki. It's such a crime that this level of sass was later edited out. Princess is Stupid Enough is such a great roast. Princess is so stupid she could speedrun reading a list of every kid in the world. In a similar vein to the Powerpuff Girls, Johnny Bravo was a show I only ever saw on the channel when they'd rerun this special, so I always made sure to catch it. Johnny basically forgets to deliver his and his mama's letters to Santa, so he goes on a journey with little Susie to do that thing. Also, Donny Osmond shows up.
Donny Osmond of the Osmond family!
Yeah, this show was kind of off the wall. They even referenced the fact that in an early episode, Johnny literally beat up Santa.
Remember I'm the one that beat you up last year because I thought you were a burglar?
Johnny, hold out your hand. No, I can't say I recall that incident.
So funny as someone who didn't see that episode until he was older. I also find it so funny how apparently there are so many flights to the North Pole on Christmas Eve. Like, are they Santa's paparazzi? Why else would they be flying up to the Arctic in December? Are they that bad of masochists? Kinda makes me wish more Christmas specials would not pull the one character doesn't believe in Santa shtick so we get bizarre ideas like this, but more on that later. Billy and Mandy was one of my favorite shows growing up, and the Christmas special is a great showcase of that. Now, it does follow the previously mentioned trope, but I can let it slide here because they do it in a pretty unique way.
Grim, everyone knows that Santa is an invention designed by the Big Five corporations to sell tinsel and video games to an unsuspecting public.
It's like how Reddit would be if Santa was real. But anyways, the plot is that Mandy doesn't believe in Santa, so Grim takes her and Billy to the North Pole, where they learn that Santa is a vampire. And Gilbert Godfrey.
I'll swallow your soul!
This has got to be one of his most underrated roles. I never realized angry Iago would make for a good vampire Santa. Anyways, it's a safe Christmas plot where they learn at the end that Santa being bitten by a vampire is a common occurrence.
Between you and me, this is like the 6th or 7th time she's turned me into a vampire.
Because Mrs. Claus is what's referred to as the head vampire. Pretty on brand for Billy and Mandy. There's also some insane out-of-pocket humor.
Santa, you in here? Santa has sharp nails.
The door's locked and no one's answering.
If you saw the Grim Reaper at your door, would you answer it?
Good point.
It's okay, everyone. It's only death.
I'm happy again.
Nice! Nice! Naughty! Nice!
Bro, what the hell, Santa? You're on the clock! Also, this joke always gets me.
How come every time I take you kids to the mall, it burns to the ground?
I blame the economy.
Grim.
Operation Naughty from Kids Next Door is such a unique episode, even by the standards of how bizarre the show it's from is. Codenamed Kids Next Door is a show that deserves a video on its own, but it was frankly one of CN's best originals looking back, and this episode is proof of that. The people behind this show were so creative that they decided to do an X-Men homage for their Christmas special. I'm not too into X-Men, but I can still appreciate the love put into this. I do at least get the geniusly punny name references here.
With bones of solid peppermintium, the ferocious leader of Santa's elite strike force, Alpha Strike, is Wintergreen. Meet the mysterious Nutcracker. But once you meet Snow Angel, you'll believe. And last but not least, the mighty Coniferous.
Heck, it's so into the parody that the narrator is a Stan Lee sound-alike.
Last-minute toys were being made as the foreman yelled, "Chop, chop!"
The actual plot of this episode is that number 4 forgets to give number 3 a gift after number 3 kept hyping up the gift she was giving him, and then X-Men attack on the treehouse. Basically, they did this because Sector V is currently being framed for stealing what's referred to as the Reindeer. This is revealed to be not actual reindeer, but a sort of key to this really cool futuristic device, which I'll just let the Stan Lee sounding narrator describe it.
Cybernetically linked to the Christmas trees of every child worldwide. All he has to do is decide whether they've been naughty or nice.
Yeah, that. There's a lot of creative ideas throughout this, and this automated, futuristic version of the naughty and nice list is a perfect example. I'm also just imagining a DoorDash system for Santa with this if they were to apply this to modern day delivery methods. Also, this episode is full of genius puns. I'll just highlight this one.
And a partridge in a pear tree!
A classic I didn't get it until I was older kind of joke. Looking back, I feel like Hey Hey It's Kanishmas from Chowder was the episode of this show that I watched the most, and it's a pretty good one too. It plays off your typical kid wants a certain thing for Christmas plot.
Electric broccoli trimmer with detachable non-electric cauliflower trimmer? You will be mine!
Very Christmas story-like. But in the Chowder universe, it's called Kanishmas, and their version of Santa is called Kanishkrinkle. And he's, quite morbid.
Will you go into an incredible fit of rage, he will?
Let me break down Kanishkrinkle. He's this caterpillar-looking motherfucker who either barfs up presents if he likes your not gingerbread house, or causes massive property damage if he hates that shit. Worst holiday mascot ever. You trounce the Easter Bunny. You know, it seems kinda cool to live in the Chowder universe, except during December. I'll break the fourth wall and hang out with puppet gods in 11 months out of the year and go to Moonman Valley or something for vacation. But back to the episode. The plot is that Mung is trying to build a not gingerbread house so Chowder can get this trimmer, but he's not very good at it. So he has to suck up his pride and buy one from his competition, Endive.
Woman, you are one giant lump of coal!
A really wholesome festive plot, but the one thing I always loved about this is how well this trio of kids works off each other.
Why'd you kick me, Chowder? I didn't kick you. I'm gonna kick you. Ow! That was for Chowder. Pass it on. I'll pass you on. Take that and that and...
I know people tend to say Panini doesn't age well, but her working off Gorgonzola is hilarious.
I'm watching you.
And now on to the not attached to an existing show ones. There's two that I could think of, and they have polarizing qualities, but I didn't notice because I was 8. Based on a book by the same name by Vivian Walsh and J. Otto Siebold, and produced by Matt Groening, that guy who made the ever-popular long-running adult cartoon known as Disenchantment. It follows the titular Olive, voiced by Drew Barrymore, on a quest to get to the North Pole to be Santa's replacement reindeer after one of them gets injured. I actually learned in the research for this video that the connections behind this go deep. So we got Matt Groening, along with the voice of Homer Simpson, Dan Castellaneta, voicing the villain.
Christmas, Bob Buckenham.
But we also got DNA Productions pre-Jimmy Neutron lending a hand. You know.
Hola, soy Pablo.
I always liked the animation. It's this unique style that's kinda hard to describe in words. It's sort of like 2.5D with the style matching a children's storybook. Cause, you know, it's based off one. And I'm just now learning this, but apparently this aired on Fox before it was on CN, really bringing together that Simpsons connection. This character lineup goes hard. You got this mailman Grinch dude who just has it out for this dog cause she dared to volunteer. You also get the suave conman penguin voiced by Ralphie from The Sopranos that kinda reminds me of a prototype penguin of Madagascar. They meet a slew of colorful characters who end up having some importance to the plot. The freaking bus driver contributes. It also just has this super slapping song.
I love Valentine's Day and the 4th of July.
It's one of those songs that just puts me right in that nostalgic mood, which is honestly the best feeling to have during the holidays. You also gotta love Olive's determination. Despite the catalyst of her journey being a misunderstanding, you still want to root for her and see her pull Santa's sleigh, to which she does, despite what 2.5D Society says. Not much else to say, but go and watch. Also, Oliver and her owner give me such wholesome Garfield and John vibes. And now on to the one that I, watched the most. And well, I regret nothing. If you watched Cartoon Network during the 2000s, especially during December, chances are you knew what this is. Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. Originally airing on the WB in 2000, and based off the song of the same name written by Randy Brooks, it follows the titular grandma who, well, has that happen. This leads to a fucking crack-ass plot about Santa being on trial. And this special is pretty infamous, not just because it aired constantly back in the day, but because this special is fucking insane. Just listen to this transition. Woof. Woof? That's the one everyone brings up, but the special is full of weird moments like that.
Santa's been arrested!
Imagine telling this to your local kindergarten class. So the special stars this boy, Jake Spankenheimer, yes that is their name, who works at his grandma's store in the town of Citiesville, no association, and after grandma gets hit, said store is at the risk of being sold off to a corporation by their greedy cousin Mel, who is probably the most memorable part of this movie because she is just a meme. Her hit Grammy-winning single about how Grandpa's gonna file a lawsuit that'll cause Santa's pantalones to fly off goes without saying.
No pantalones.
But hey, she's not the only one dropping the hit singles. Just look at Grandpa over here.
Grandma spending Christmas with the superstars since that reindeer ran her down that fateful night.
I mean, you do you in mourning your loved ones. And of course we got this lady.
Cousin Mel's attorney. I am Slime.
You said it, not me.
I want her in the next season of Spy Family. One interesting bit of Santa lore the special drops is that they give Santa a canon email address.
To Santa Claus at santaclausisreal.com.
I like how not only does Santa have an email, but it is one of the most inconspicuous ones that makes it sound like a fan site. It's like if you called someone's email over at this forest something like Face of Mercy 959 at reviewingforest.org. Also, I'm gonna bring up the trope in Christmas specials that bothers me, mostly because it's really prevalent here, but it's something I like to call the Santa paradox. Basically, it's when a Christmas episode or special has one subplot about someone not believing in Santa, only to find out that Santa was real in the end. And here, a bunch of characters are shown to not believe in Santa, and kinda tease Jake about it. But if Santa were real in this universe, wouldn't it not even be questioned at all? Like, where do the other folks think those extra presents are coming from? Sleep buying? Sleep Amazon ordering? Also, wouldn't that there been a bunch of proven news sightings? Also, it does make me wonder that if in a universe where Santa was real, would that make the non-believers on par with conspiracy theorists? You know, the earth is flat kind? We overthink the minute details in cheesy early 2000s Christmas specials here in this forest. It's what makes the holidays complete. And really, that's what made my childhood complete. The good, the bad, and the batshit insane of what I watched when I was 8. It helped shape me into whatever the hell kind of person I am, some lonely fuck lost in the woods screaming about my hyperfixations. So a happy holidays, and here's to another year of Santa in court. Also, there's Legend of Frosty the Snowman that I forgot about until now, and Frosty is voiced by Patrick Star, that's all I gotta say.